So Obama went to this thing in Oakland. There's a thing called My Brother's Keeper, which is about mentoring young black men that came along after Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman. And Obama went in and he said to some young black men, he said, if you are really confident about your financial situation, you are probably not going to be wearing an 8-pound chain around your neck, because you know, if I've got a bank account, I don't have to show you how much I got. I feel good. So he's saying, make money. Don't brag about having money. Don't go around wearing your dollar bill gold chain. I mean, this is the Barack Obama after he doesn't have to defend his bad policies. I mean, really, I really believe what happened with Obama is that he didn't know what he didn't know. He had all these things that he had been taught, all these ideas that he thought were going to make the world a better place, and the tide was going to recede, and everything was going to go away. Instead, it was a mess. He couldn't get the economy going, even though the dead cat bounce alone from the crash in 2008 should have made it soar. It didn't soar until Trump took office, because Obama didn't know what he was doing, because his policies were wrong. He blew up the Middle East. We were almost out of there, and he blew it up and let ISIS run wild, and everything was going wrong. So he reverted to the Democrat playbook. He reverted to the Democrat playbook of identity politics. Whenever there was some kind of trouble that involved the black guy, hitting on the police, attacking the police, which really was sinful in that case. And now he's free of that, right? So he's free to just tell people what he really thinks. And he says to these kids, he says, oftentimes racism historically in the society sends you a message that you are less than and weak. And we, meaning black men, feel that we have to compensate by exaggerating certain stereotypical ways that men are supposed to act. And that's a trap that we fall into, that we have to pull out of. Now, you've heard me say the same thing, that racism, bigotry creates the effect that it basically hates people into becoming the thing that they hate. So Jews in the Middle Ages were not allowed to do anything except loan money, because usury was off base to Christians. And so then you say, oh, well, the Jews have all the money. They're very good with money. That's money. All they care about is money. You create the person that you hate. You turn him, what is the line in Merchant of Venice? He said, you call me a dog, now beware my fangs. And that's what happens. It transforms people. So the left goes after Obama. And where do we find the left? Of course, we find it at the New York Times, a former newspaper on Knucklehead Road.
Oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, ho, let's go waltzing down to Knucklehead Road.
So we get from Dereka Purnell, a Harvard-trained lawyer and a black person, why does Obama scold black boys? The former president still can't see the beautiful and complex range of black culture. So some guy with his shirt open wearing gold chains about how rich he is, this is the beautiful, complex black culture, really. He says his comments disappointed me, because the comments I was just reading, his comments disappointed me because they're part of problematic practices, like calling out black children for having ghetto names or wearing Air Jordans. Such remarks by Mr. Obama reflect his administration's failure, and to an extent that of My Brother's Keeper, to tackle the systemic inequality that shapes black people's lives in America. Why didn't you stick with the black racial program, and why did you just try and have there be a high tide that lifts all boats? Yet Michelle's husband, she goes on, as he introduced himself at the town hall, uses My Brother's Keeper to change life outcomes for boys of colors, but its solution to financial insecurity and the racist violence that led to Trayvon's murder, which is literally not true, are the same. Community mentorship, that's their solution. This pales in comparison to reparations or any major social or legislative intervention that justice requires. Now, reparations, the idea that people who did nothing to you should pay you back for things that didn't happen to you, it's like, here in Los Angeles, we have the tar pits. They're tar pits, and prehistoric beasts like mastodons fell into the tar pits, couldn't get out, were sucked down, and now they're fossils. That's what this is. Reparations, the idea of white privilege, which is simply the idea of envy. It's not about what I have, what I should be grateful for. It's about what that guy has that he shouldn't have. Reparations is the idea that the past never goes away, that I have to be paid back for the past, even though it didn't happen to me, that I have to punish people who did that, even though the only relationship between them and the people who did it is the color of their skin, so it's racist. It's this old idea, and it's a tar pit. It is keeping people. Look, Believe me, I am not preaching to black people on how to be black. I'm preaching to Americans on how to be American, because that is the thing. The movie Get Out gets it right. It's that the time has come when you have to deal with the problems of assimilation, which all of us have to deal with. And there are true problems and there are true costs, but they do not want to let it go. They will not let it go. And I'm not just talking about race. I'm talking about all of the left's grievances, all the things that they feel happened in the past. Instead of celebrating where they are now, they've got to hold on. They've got to hold on because it makes them important. It makes them, revolutionaries and rebels and brave people. And they can especially be brave people. They can especially be brave people because there's no cost, because the problem is gone. Nobody's going to set a dog on a person for saying black people should be treated fairly. Those days are done. Those days are done. And thank God they're done. And so it's heroism without price. It's unreal heroism. It's like the right-wing people who write to me and say, here's my ideas. Could you say it on your show? Because I don't want to pay the penalty. And I think, yeah, I don't want to pay the penalty either. But we pay penalties for saying things. I'm not getting dogs sent after me. The penalties I pay are minor career things that I just have to deal with, which is fine, but there is no telling the truth without the price and without paying a price. And there is no speaking up without paying a price. And the price for racism in this country has been paid. It's been paid by people who came before you. It's your turn to celebrate and contribute and assimilate insofar as you can. They're doing it to Michelle Obama too. It's the same thing, Knucklehead Road. Why do black people still feel we have to retain white empathy at the expense of being truly empathetic to ourselves? It's not white empathy, it's joining in the society. And